Now comes the main aspect. The first unit, what it deals with is the forms of poetry. Literary form में हमने पहला form उठाया है. The first form is poetry, and now we are studying the various forms of poetry. So lyric, sonnet, epic, ode, and ballet. Even the E should have been capital here. It's a typo error. Now, what is a lyric? A lyric is a song, simply a simple definition of lyric. And every sonnet or epic or ode or ballet can be a lyric because they can be sung. Any poem which can be sung is a lyric, right? Now, a lyric is a fairly short poem with musical quality. It is a subjective poem, and the speaker expresses a state of mind in a lyric. There are two kinds of lyric: personal lyric, where the poet expresses a feeling and then provides some arguments to reach a conclusion. Example, Frost at Midnight. मैं जो examples यहाँ quote कर रही हूँ, you will have to read a little bit about them to understand what they are. ओके अगर मुझे आपके कोर्स में जो आपने पढ़े हैं उसमें से इफ आई हैड टू गिव यू एन एग्जांपल ऑफ अ लिरिक देन इवन lines written in early spring by Wordsworth is a lyric. Okay, then dramatic lyric, when the speaker is felt to be speaking to another person in a specific situation, that is a dramatic lyric. So, two categories of lyric: personal lyric and dramatic lyric. अब देखिए बात समझिए बिफोर मैं आपको आगे एक्सप्लेन करूँ. Sorry. In this unit, we will be studying the types of lyrics, the features of lyric, and the various categories of lyric. Similarly, sonnet. How many kinds of sonnet are there? What are the features of sonnet, epic, ode, and ballet? Okay. Now, whatever is their definition, their categories, like two kinds of sonnet or two kinds of lyrics or two kind of ballets or how many ever. Now, this is a fact. Okay. Now, this doesn't has एनीथिंग कॉम्प्लिकेटेड. तो आपको ये जो पोर्शन है ना, दिस इज अ थेरी पोर्शन एंड यू हैव टू लर्न इट. You will learn it only when you make your own notes, right? So I'll be obviously sharing the PPT separately also so that you are able to make notes with the help of this. Now obviously एक level है understanding का, you have to understand, but at the same time what you have to do, you have to learn it also. That is more important. Okay, so definition of lyric, kinds of lyric: personal lyric, dramatic lyric. Now, form or structure of the lyric. Now the first part states the emotion or the subject. Now the first part of the poem, that is lyric, it states the subject. The second part consists of thoughts which arise as a result of particular emotion. That forms the third part, second part, sorry. And the third part is brief and imparts a sort of conclusion in the shape of a judgment or a general remark. So these are your three parts of lyric. You have to understand that and learn also that the first part states the emotion, then the second part deals with the thoughts which arise because of those emotions, and the third part is kind of a remark or a conclusion. Now the lyric, it originated in Greek, of course. It was like a song sung with the accompaniment of instruments. Now a Greek song was of two types. जहाँ से lyric originate किया ना, वहाँ पे in the Greek song there were two types: melic or lyric song, which was sung by one person, and there was an accompaniment of lyric. लायर होना चाहिए जो इंस्ट्रूमेंट बजाते थे, वन, ओके, LYRE. एंड द कोरिक सॉन्ग, कोरस से कोरिक, sung by more than one person, ये आप कोरस से भी समझ जाओगे, है ना, कोरिक सॉन्ग. More than one instrument was used, and even dance was involved in the choric song. So this is about the origin of the lyric. Now next, what are the modes of lyric? Modes का मतलब होता है सब क्लासेस क्या हैं, किस किस तरह के मोड लिरिक होते हैं. Sonnet है, वो भी लिरिक हो सकता है. Even ode can be a lyric, hymn can be a lyric, elegy can be a lyric, dramatic monologue. Now these are the various subclasses of what we call lyric. Now we pick up the first one, that is dramatic monologue. Monologue क्या होता है? अगर simple words में समझना, monologue is when you are talking to yourself. Monologue, mono single, log, you're talking. So dramatic monologue is a type of lyric poem. Single person speech makes the whole poem. पूरी poem एक single person का speech होती है. The person or speaker is not the poet, not necessary. He may or he may not be. The speakers addresses one or more persons who do not speak but their presence is felt. अब ये poem है जो कि MA में है, My Last Duchess. वहाँ क्या है? Now poem is going with his beloved, and he is giving so many things. They are remembering the past, they are remembering the good times they have had, they are remembering their courtship, so many things. So it is just the speaker who's going on talking, but the beloved is totally silent. So ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग के साथ हमेशा हम एसोसिएट करते हैं रॉबर्ट ब्राउनिंग का नाम. दैट इज व्हाई आई हैव रिटन हियर. Robert Browning is known to have mastered the art of writing dramatic monologue. His poem, My Last Duchess, is the best example of ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग. तो लिरिक की सबसे पहली सब क्लास क्या है? ड्रामेटिक मोनोलॉग. नेक्स्ट इज एलिजी एंड हिम. एलिजी सिंपल वर्ड्स में याद रखना है तो एलिजी इज अ लिरिक विच इज रिटन ऑन द डेथ ऑफ अ पर्सन और टू रिमेंबर समबडी. ये होगी एलिजी, a poem written on the death of a person, or a lyric which is written on the death of a person. Hymn is हिंदी में एक वर्ड में बोलना हो मुझे तो भजन. ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाट इज अ हिम. अब डेफिनेशन देखते हैं. Elegy is a lyric which is sad and reflective. It is written to mourn or commemorate the death of a dear one. Mournful, mourn समझते हैं आप, एक दुख व्यक्त करना, mourning, right? दो तरह की एलिजी होती है. वन इज पर्सनल एलिजी. What is a personal elegy? It is written on death of a particular person. पेस्टोरल एक ऐसा वर्ड है, अब जो लर्न कर लो, लिटरेचर के स्टूडेंट्स को पता होना चाहिए पेस्टोरल क्या है. एनीथिंग रिलेटेड टू विलेज लाइफ इज पेस्टोरल. So pastoral elegy is another form of elegy in which the poet mourns the loss of another poet represented as shepherd. अब shepherd connect हो गया ना village life से. So that is why sorry, pastoral elegy. Hymn is a song written to celebrate God or express religious feeling. तो सिंपल तरीका याद रखने का कि जो भजन होते हैं उन्हें हम हिम बोलते हैं. हाइमन नहीं पढ़ेंगे इसको, इट इज हिम. The term is derived from Greek hymnos, which means an ode or a song in praise of God or a hero. Now, hymns are secular and celebrate earthly love and beauty. So they can be secular also. Obviously, religious है तो secular भी हो सकता है. It can talk of love also, it can talk of beauty also. But of whose? Obviously, the role of God in that, right? So please remember dramatic monologue, elegy, and hymn. What these are four subclasses, three subclasses जो अब तक हमने पढ़ी किसकी? लिरिक की. Next and a very important one. This is something which you should not forget. Okay, sonnet. कभी भी आपके दिमाग से नहीं जाना चाहिए कि sonnet क्या है. Sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. Never forget this, please. Okay? So, a sonnet is basically a lyric poem. Obviously, हम उसको सब कैटेगरी पढ़ रहे हैं जब लिरिक का. A poem of 14 lines मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग टू रिमेंबर अबाउट सोनेट, मैं आपको बता चुकी हूँ। ऑजीमैंडियस इज अ सोनेट। वाई इट इज अ सोनेट, आगे इसके पार्ट्स आते हैं तो मैं समझाती हूँ आपको। Now, meter that is used in a sonnet is iambic pentameter. ये मैंने आपकी information के लिए भी add किया है so that you know. Now, what is the meter? It is the unit of rhythm or basic rhythmic structure. मैं इसकी बात कर चुकी हूँ beginning में. Iambic pentameter. Pentameter जब यहाँ आ गया, 5 feet means the 5 meters that have been used where that have been used as stressed syllable and as unstressed syllable, तो टोटल 10 syllables हो गए। इसकी डेप्थ में जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, just remember what sonnets are. Now, types of sonnet, ये बहुत important है, बहुत significant है, and you are not supposed to forget it all through your life. I'm saying life. जब लिटरेचर के स्टूडेंट्स हैं उन्हें कभी नहीं भूलना है कि सोनेट क्या होता है, क्योंकि जब आप मास्टर्स में भी हिस्ट्री ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर पढ़ोगे, दिस इज समथिंग यू विल रीड इन डिटेल. Here also some details are there, but not much. So two categories, remember. The Italian or Petrarchan sonnet. Petrarch से Petrarchan आया. And the second category, the English or the Shakespearean sonnet. अब आप समझ सकते हो नाम से ही, the Italian because it originated in Italy. Petrarchan क्यों बोल रहे हैं? Because Petrarch was the first user of these. He started writing sonnets first. Then the English sonnet. Obviously the English sonnet was not started by Shakespeare, there was somebody else, but eventually Shakespeare made these English sonnets so popular that the English sonnets came to be known as Shakespearean sonnet. Now, the Italian sonnet, as the name says, Italian sonnet, it originated in Italy, and Petrarch was the first practitioner who wrote sonnets in later half of 13th century. Parts of Italian sonnet, the octave and the sestet. अब Ozymandias में आप जब देखोगे, there are 14 lines and the first 8 lines they tell you what is happening, what has happened. There is a deserted place. What has happened in the deserted place? There is a sculpture. Whose sculpture that was? All that thing. And the last 6 lines, they are the concluding lines where the thought is concluded, where the theme is also introduced, what Shelley is trying to tell you. Okay, it is a sonnet. So ये दो पार्ट्स हैं, मैंने डिफरेंसेस क्रिएट किए हैं, डिफरेंशिएट किया है, सॉरी. टू पार्ट्स ऑफ इटालियन सोनेट. ऑक्टिव डिवाइडेड इनटू 2 स्टांजास ऑफ 4 लाइंस. 2 स्टांजास होंगे 4 लाइंस, 4 लाइंस के. ये उसकी राइमिंग स्कीम होगी, ए बी बी ए, एट लाइन्स हो गई. इन दीज लाइन्स थॉट इज डेवलप्ड, यू आर बीइंग टोल्ड अबाउट एवरीथिंग. एंड देन द सेसेट बोलते हैं उसको, सेस्टेट नहीं पढ़ते, सेसेट. लास्ट 6 लाइन्स ऑफ द पोएम एंड CDE और CDC DCD. ये ना लास्ट जो क्या बोलते हैं हम, जो लास्ट साउंड है वर्ड की, इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब क्या है कि जो फर्स्ट लाइन है और जो फोर्थ लाइन है, दे विल बी एंडिंग विद द सेम साउंड, एंड सेकेंड एंड थर्ड दे विल हैव द सेम साउंड. दिस इज व्हाट इट मीन्स. तो इस चीज़ को लेके प्लीज कंफ्यूज नहीं होना. ये राइमिंग स्कीम्स ही है जो आपको लर्न करनी है और जो आपको पता होनी चाहिए, बिकॉज दिस मार्क्स द मेन डिफरेंस बिटवीन द टू, है ना. और यहाँ कंफ्यूज मत होना. 2 स्टांजास 4 लाइन्स का मतलब हो गया 8 लाइन्स. 8 लाइन्स ऑक्टेव, 6 लाइन्स सेसेट. And what happens in the sestet, in these lines, there is turn in the thought. यहाँ पे theme introduce होती है generally. That is what happens in the concluding lines in the sestet. Okay, so remember 2 parts of Italian sonnet: sestet, octave, and sestet. ये मैंने rhyming scheme बनाई है so that you have an idea. This is the first stanza, this is the second stanza, third one, and the fourth one, and the 14 lines. So next, and a very interesting part, that is the English sonnet. The English sonnet was introduced in English in the 16th century. इटालियन सोनेट आए 13th सेंचुरी में, इंग्लिश सोनेट आए 16th सेंचुरी में. Two poets, namely Sir Thomas Wyatt and Henry Howard, they were the Earl of Surrey. Hmm? इन्होंने विजिट किया इटली. सो फ्रॉम देयर दे लर्नड दिस आर्ट ऑफ राइटिंग sonnets, and they were the first poets to introduce sonnets in English. Now, parts of the sonnet, English sonnet, three quatrains and a couplet. ये three quatrains आ गए, first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, और quatrains means four lines. Quatrains, couplet, two lines. So these are the sonnets which Surrey wrote. अब ये difference मैंने वर्कआउट किया है इटालियन सोनेट में एंड शेक्सपियरियन सोनेट में. इटालियन सोनेट में क्या है, देयर इज एन ऑक्टेव एंड अ सेसेट जिसकी राइमिंग स्कीम ये है, एंड ये डी सी डी होना चाहिए, उल्टा हो गया. एंड शेक्सपियरियन सोनेट हैज टू पार्ट्स, थ्री क्वार्टरेंस. ये थ्री क्वार्टरेंस आ गए आपके अलग अलग, तीन पैराग्राफ्स, फोर लाइन्स के, एंड अ कपलेट. सो प्लीज इसको याद कर लीजिए एंड नेवर नेवर फॉरगेट इट. सीधी सी बात है, इटालियन सोनेट octave sestet, 6 lines, 8 lines. Shakespearean sonnet, two parts, three quatrains and a couplet. Simple. लिखोगे तो याद रहेगा. You won't forget. Now, how the English sonnet came to be known, popularly known as Shakespearean sonnet. William Shakespeare was the greatest poet who wrote 154 sonnets. ये भूलना मत कभी भी. नेवर नेवर एवर फॉरगेट. हम क्या बोलते हैं, शेक्सपियर की यूनिवर्सैलिटी है. यूनिवर्सैलिटी क्यों है? बिकॉज ही हैज़ रिटन 154 sonnets and he has written 38 odd plays, and those plays are universal. They have a universal appeal. Even these poems, for that matter, they have a universal appeal. That is why Shakespeare is known as a universal writer. There has been no person in the literature who could match up to the level of William Shakespeare. Okay. और मैंने 38 odd plays बोला. आप सोचोगे why odd? Because it is not sure whether he has written 37 or he has written 39. तो हम बोलते हैं 38 odd plays. Odd, ODD, 38 odd plays. Though Surrey was originator, but Shakespeare became the most important popular sonnet writer. In three quatrains, the poet introduced and developed his ideas or the feelings, and in the couplet, the poet concludes the subject by making a remark or by giving his observation. ये हर poem में रहेगा. Generally, starting में the poet introduces his thoughts, he develops his ideas, and when he comes to a conclusion, he'll give you an observation, or he'll always conclude the subject, or he will give his remarks. That is what happens in most of the poems, but here we are particularly talking about sonnets. There was also a third category which was not very popular. उसको हम Spenserian sonnet बोलते थे. And why Spenserian sonnet? Because it was started by Edmund Spenser. So there was another not very popular form of sonnet which was developed by Edmund Spenser. It was divided into two parts like the English sonnet, but the quatrains were linked to each other and the rhyming scheme was AB AB BC BC CD CD EE. ये थोड़ा सा डिफरेंस है इंग्लिश सॉनेट में और स्पेंसेरियन सॉनेट में. राइमिंग स्कीम का डिफरेंस है, बस ये याद रखना है आपको. मे बी वन वर्ड का क्वेश्चन आपको आ सकता है, बट पार्ट्स वही थे, थ्री क्वार्टरेंस एंड अ कपलेट. Lastly, as far as the subject matter of sonnet is concerned, it ranges from love to religion and to other serious matters. So, this was a non popular form of sonnet. So, for today, this is all for today. And we have in this lecture, I have dealt with subclasses of lyrics: dramatic monologue, elegy, epic, not epic, sorry, hymn and sonnet. Sonnet की यही डिटेल रहेगी जो आपको पता होनी चाहिए. Now we will move on to the next फॉर्म ऑफ लिरिक, वापस आ जाते हैं लिरिक पे, एंड व्हाट फॉर्म वी आर गोना स्टडी, फॉर्म ऑफ पोएट्री. लिरिक हमने पढ़ लिया. नाउ वी विल मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट कैटेगरी, एंड दैट इज ओट. Okay, so this is all for this lecture. Thank you so much. Use this PPT and make your notes, because I will only be helping you with the first unit. Second unit जो कि आपका, सेकेंड यूनिट नहीं, सेकेंड चैप्टर जो कि ड्रामा है, फिर फिक्शन है, फिर प्रोज है. On the basis of these lectures, you will be making your notes for the next genres, ye literary forms that we will be studying. Okay, thank you so much. I hope you have no doubts, or still, if you have any doubts, these can always be discussed. We shall continue. Thank you.